Based on those using art supplies I hate videos, oil pastels seem to be pretty commonly hated. But recently I've seen these amazing oil pastel paintings, so I wanna try it too. I like using soft pastels, but I don't own any oil pastels except these Pentel ones I got in primary school, which is why they have the name sticker on them. And I've hardly used them at all in the last 25 years probably. A couple of colors are missing and I know one of them is black. We were told in primary school that black isn't a real color and we had to mix our own black with brown and blue and so on, and the teacher took away the black colors from our pastel and crayon sets and never gave them back. Just in case I like my finished drawings, I'm going to pre-cut the paper to fit some of my empty frames so they'll be easy to frame afterwards. I'm following YouTube shorts from the channel Xin Art Easy Drawing, and the first one I'm doing is a sunset with tree silhouettes. So, why do people hate oil pastels? Well, for starters, the yellow one snapped in half right at the get-go. It was also a little dirty, so now I have a dark smudge in the otherwise solid yellow part. Cool. But the sunset gradient in this one is supposed to be created by varying coverage. So you do a section of 100% coverage by pressing the pastel hard, which is what broke the pastel for me. Then you do a section of 50% coverage with the same color by pressing lighter. And then the same steps with the next color in the gradient and so on till the bottom of the paper. And then you come back and add the color from below to those 50% coverage sections above. And in this case, it's okay that the gradient isn't exactly smooth. It just looks like clouds in the sky. Another thing that people might not like about oil pastels is that they're messy. And unlike soft pastels, you can't really even blow away the dust. It kinda sticks to the paper. And your fingers get dirty too. The next part is drawing straight vertical lines for where the tree silhouettes will be. I wish I had the black now, to be honest. Trying to do this silhouette with brown and dark blue is just not the same. The contrast between the red and brown isn't as big as it would be with a red sunset and a black silhouette. But this is only my first try. Plus, this is another thing people usually complain about oil pastels. The lack of control. You can't draw details. But in this case, I think it's a question of finding a good way to simplify the tree silhouettes. And I just didn't nail it with the first try. The thing is that the quick art shorts might look really simple, but it's probably come with years of practice. They've perfected a certain style, found the best tools that work for them. So even if you've done art for a long time, but you're trying out a new style or technique, it's not going to work out right away. The next one is a sunset beach painting, and we're using masking tape to make a straight line between the sky and the sea. Make sure to weaken the tape first so that it doesn't rip your paper when you take it off. He's putting down the color the same way again, but changing how the gradient is blended. He's using his finger to blend the colors into a smooth gradient this time. But when I try it, nothing happens. Finger blending doesn't work with these oil pastels. Neither does blending with tissue paper. I think these oil pastels are too hard for that. He must be using soft oil pastels. So I'll go back to blending the same way as I did in the first painting, and it's not smooth, but it's fine. Another issue some people have with oil pastels is that some of the pigments used in them can be toxic and they're touching your skin, but these kids' oil pastels probably aren't toxic. The way you set pastel drawings is toxic though, so if you spray them with fixative afterwards to make them more permanent, preferably do it outdoors. And the fixative will also slightly alter the colors. But I feel like these kinds of complaints apply to a lot of different mediums. Now let's move the tape to do the bottom half. Squiggly line for the shore, and then coloring the sea a mix of pink, white and pale orange, and then the peach, a darker mix of pink and orange. The box says these can also be used wet with turpentine or other solvents. When brushed over with a wet brush, colors can be blended and shaded. Should I try that in a future video? Oil pastels versus oil paints maybe? The interesting part is how he creates the waves hitting the shore, making it look like thick impasto painting. My white oil pastel isn't quite producing the same effect, but I'm getting some opaque white and a bit of 3D effect at parts too. Then finishing off the sea with some light white lines on the waves, and for the grand finale he's using a palette knife, which I don't have. So I tried using a wood carving tool as a palette knife. In his videos he slices off a part of the pastel and turns that into a kind of a body, molds it into a ball and then presses it down on the paper to turn it into a sun or a moon. And it just wasn't working for me at all. But then afterwards I realized I didn't try molding it in my fingers, so I tried that and turns out it worked with some of the pinks, but the white and the lemon yellow were too hard. The darker chrome yellow did work, but it was a bit dirty though, so the sun doesn't look very nice. Maybe you need to use the pastel a bit to soften it and then mold that soft residue. I was going to do more of an impasto painting for the third one, but I don't think it's going to work with these oil pastels. I did see a tip afterwards of adding hand cream to the oil pastel to soften it. I haven't tested it yet, but it's something you can try if you have hard oil pastels too. Will it become my new favorite medium? Probably not, but at least I now have an idea of what could be done using it. But if you're looking for another painting technique that doesn't require any fancy supplies, check out this video next where I tried painting with a window squeegee. See you there!